This is the final video for our income tax unit and will be a step-by-step process in completing the Minnesota Individual Tax Reform Form M1. Again, this project will be done for Sarah Walker's Minnesota income tax. So to complete this process, I would suggest you have the W-2 form handy, and you'd also need a copy of your federal 1040EZ because we'll be referencing a couple of places in that document. So to start with, the first thing that we'll do is fill out the top section of this, and then I'm probably going to erase that information and scroll down so that I can give you the entire view of the screen. So we'll place Sarah's name first and last, Sarah's social security number in the appropriate location. There is not a joint return, so this next section will be left blank. But then we will put in her current home address. We'll place the city, state, and zip code information in the appropriate cells. And then we also need to put her date of birth in the appropriate location. Sarah is single, so we'll check the box representing single. She doesn't elect to do any type of political campaign contributions or deductions, so we'll leave this section of that return blank. Now I'm going to remove that information, and then I'm going to scroll down so that we get a better view of the rest of the tax form. And we're going to scroll down to the income section, where we need to record information about her wages and salary. So in letter A, it asks for wages, tips, and salary. That's the information that will come off the W-2. And she earned $10,020 in income. She had no contributions from IRA, so we'll leave that blank. We had no unemployment for letter C, so we'll leave that blank. And then it asks for federal adjusted gross income. Well, if you look at the 1040EZ, the federal adjusted gross income is line number 4, and that was for $10,820. The difference between these two numbers accounts for the $800 in interest that she received from her savings account at the bank. So that's the amount that will go in letter D. Next, we'll go down to the federal income, taxable income, which comes from line number 6 off her 1040EZ, and that number was $4,620. Item number 2, we don't have any information we need to record for state income tax or sales tax addition. Line 3, we have nothing. So line 4 tells us to add lines 1 through 3, and that will give us $4,620. Next, we go to line number 5. We have no state income tax refund. Line 6, we have no other subtractions. So line number 7 asks us to add lines 5 and 6, and we have nothing, so we will just put in a 0. Then we'll move on to number 8, Minnesota taxable income. And the instruction tells us to subtract line 7 from 4. When we subtract line 7 from line 4, we have a total of $4,620. Next, we go to line number 9, and line 9 asks us for the tax from the table in the M1 instructions. So I'm going to switch over to the tax booklet, and in the tax booklet, I'm going to take us down to page 24, and on page 24, I'm going to go and locate the income that she is responsible for paying tax on, which is $4,620, and that would be on this line right here. And I identify her tax liability from the first column of $249. So $249 is the amount then that I'm going to record on line number 9. So I'll switch us back to the tax form. And on line 9, I'll record $249. Line 10, alternative minimum tax, there is nothing. So line 11 asks us to add lines 9 and 10. So again, we have $249. Line 12 asks if we're a full year residence, and we're going to assume that she was. It says enter the amount from line 11 on line 12 and then skip the section A and B. So we'll record $249 on line 12. Line 13 asks for tax on lump sum distribution, which we have none. And line 14 asks us the tax before credits, which adds line 12 and line 13. So again, the number is $249. That completes the first page of our M1. So now we're going to switch over to the second page. So I'm going to erase this information from our first page to get us to scroll over to page number 2. And when we do that, we'll be starting out with, at the very top of the page, line number 15. One more thing I need to erase. So looking at the second page, and I might have trouble getting all of this on there. I might have to do a little more erasing on this as well at the very end. But line number 15 says, before tax credits, it's the amount from the previous page from line 14. We record that again, and that was $249. For items number 16, 17, and 18, we have nothing in 16 and 17. So our total on line number 18 is again going to be 0. Line number 19 tells us to subtract line 18 from line 15, which on line 19 will be $249. Line 20, we're not going to make any contribution to the non-game wildlife fund. So line 21 asks us to add lines 19 and 20. So again, we are $249. Seems to be a lot of redundancy on the Minnesota form, and that is correct. Next, we go to line number 22, which is Minnesota income tax withheld. So now we need to go back to the W-2, and at the very bottom of your W-2 form, you'll see that the state income tax withheld from Sarah's check was a total of $495. So we'll record that on line number 22. We have nothing for lines 23 through 28. We have no items that apply to that particular section. So down at the bottom, we go to line number 29. It says add lines 22 through 28. We only have one item up there, so our total on line number 29 is $495. That brings us to line 30 and our refund section. On our refund section, it tells us if line 29 is more than line 21. Here's line 29. Here's line 21. It is more than line 21, so then we subtract line 21 from 29, and that represents our refund. When I subtract $249 from $495, I get $246, which represents the refund that Sarah would get on her 2013 income tax form. And actually, I'm using 2014, so it would be the previous year. I said that wrong. It would be on her 2014 income tax refund. And she's elected to put that in, that refund to go to savings. So we'll check her savings box. We want that to go to her bank, and her routing number for the bank, same as on the federal, 4593054. The account number that she would like that deposited into is 214-532-15468. And the final item that we need to deal with on this page is then down at the very bottom, and that is the signature where it says your signature here. We would sign Sarah Walker, and we would date it the date that the tax form was completed. So I would date it 1/29/2014. And then you'll notice down at the very bottom of the page, it says, include a copy of your 2014 federal return with this M1 tax return. So you need to make a photocopy if you're mailing this of your 1040EZ along with a copy of your W-2 and include that when you send in your Minnesota tax return. Again, if those items were being electronically filed, you would include an electronic file of the federal return as well as your W-2. So that's the process in completing the M1 Minnesota tax return, and that is the final set of instructions that hopefully make completing the tax return process a little bit easier. So now that you've completed both of these forms, to get these to me, you can scan them, put them into your Dropbox. You could put them in an envelope and physically mail them if you needed to, but probably scanning Dropbox would be the easiest, or you could attach them to an email as well. One way or the other, whatever is the most convenient way for you to get these to me, I'm fine with whatever method you choose. If you have any questions about it, please send me an email. Otherwise, I hope this was helpful, and we'll be visiting with you online. Thanks a lot, guys.